Good evening for those who are dialing in from further east in Asia. Good afternoon to those who are dialing in from Africa and Europe, and good morning to all those who are dialing in from further west in the Americas. This is such a critical conversation that we're beginning today, and it's a great pleasure to be a host for this session. My name is Edwin Macharia, and I'm wearing two hats in this particular discussion. The first hat is as a global managing partner of Dalberg, which is the world's largest impact first advisory firm. The second is as a global board member of the Nature Conservancy, which is one of the leading environmental focused NGOs in the world. And in actually the bringing of these two worlds together makes this conversation such an important one for us to be having today, which is on how do we create sustainable ocean economies going forward. We have a really interesting conversation for you all, and so looking forward to your participation, which will be anchored by His Excellency, the President of Kenya, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, but also includes other critical leaders from government, as well as people from the ground who engage with, benefit from, and support the blue economy in Kenya. More importantly, this conversation is anchored by our leadership, but it really speaks to our relationship, every single individual's in the world's relationship with the oceans. The oceans form 70% of the land of the mass of our planet. It is the primary modes of transportation of goods across the world. About 97% of all goods in the world are transported on the oceans. It feeds at least 3 billion people, providing critical nutrients and proteins to their diets. And so the oceans does play such an important part, yet we have not had a call to action, collective action, in protecting, in producing from, and managing our oceans sustainably. And this is why this is such an important question for today. So on behalf of everybody who is joining, please welcome to this session. It is part of a tapestry of sessions that are being had across the world, given the leadership that's been provided by the 14 countries that are members of the high-level panel, of which Kenya has been such a critical part in the leadership of that. As many people will remember, Kenya hosted the Blue Economy Conference in 2018 in Nairobi, in conjunction with the governments of Japan and Canada. Kenya and His Excellency has been a critical part of this conversation that we'll be having today around the high-level panel towards sustainable ocean economy. Kenya will also be co-hosting the next Blue Economy panel in conjunction with Portugal, tentatively scheduled for 2021. And so right at the beginning, I do want to recognize the participation at the top of His Excellency, the President, who will be joining us shortly and will have an address that will be coming to us in a few hours. I want to recognize the leaders of government, members of the cabinet, as well as leaders of the various departments and agencies across the Kenyan government. I also want to recognize ambassadors, heads of mission, as well as heads of bilateral and multilateral partners who we will need to move forward this agenda. But really, most importantly, I want to recognize the regular Kenyan who is dialing in on Zoom or is watching this on the broadcast on KBC, for whom this is the most important, they're the most important stakeholder in this conversation. That really understanding why oceans are so critical, why we must protect them, why we must produce from them in a sustainable way, and why they must prosper is a critical part of the conversation we need to have today, and is a critical part of shifting our relationship with our oceans. And so to kick us off, I want to invite PS Karigithu, who is the PS for Maritime Affairs and Maritime and Shipping Affairs in the Ministry of Transport, to give us a sense of what this high-level panel is all about and what are the highlights from it. And as she's coming on, do want to recognize she's speaking on behalf of Dr. Ruth Kagia, who is unfortunately not able to join us given she had a personal situation. And she has been such an able Sherpa for Kenya and for the 14 countries. So over to you, Dr. PS Karigithu, to give your opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Macharia. It's an honor to be in this forum. Let me start by saying that I'm standing in, like you've said, for Madam Ruth Kagia, Deputy Chief of Staff in the Executive Office of the President and Kenya's Sherpa for the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy, who has been at the helm of this initiative, but like you've said, has been unable to join us today because of the untimely passing on of her dear husband, Professor James Kagia. Please, I'm sure you'll all join me in sending our deepest condolences to Madam Kagia and her family. The maritime domain is the cornerstone of the livelihood of humanity, habitat, resources, and transport routes for over 90% of global trade. The oceans and seas connect states and regions and make otherwise distant nations neighbors. Humankind depends on a safe, sound, and secure maritime domain in order to preserve peace, enhance international security and stability, feed billions, foster human development, economic growth and prosperity, secure energy supplies, and preserve biodiversity and coastal livelihoods. It is unfortunate that due to our actions as humans, the ability of the ocean to support life is significantly declining, and this should be a big cause of serious concerns for all of us. We have all witnessed the deleterious effects of climate change arising from human actions like overfishing, dumping of waste, greenhouse gas emissions from shipping, and coastal developments, among others. We are losing our land and ocean ecosystems at an unprecedented rate because we have in the past focused more on economic development than the sustainability of our nature-given free resources. The current challenges from climate change have forced us to shift focus to how we can best balance economic development and sustainability. Discussions around these subjects are ongoing across the world, and leaders are coming together to find the best ways to safeguard our oceans and their resources. In December 2018, the Norwegian Prime Minister, Her Excellency Emma Solberg, launched the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy comprising 14 heads of state and government from coastal states. Kenya is honored to be representing the African continent alongside two other African countries, that is Ghana and Namibia, on the 14-member panel. The main agenda for the panel is to create a roadmap to a sustainable ocean or blue economy, where effective protection, sustainable use of the ocean, as well as prosperity that is equitably shared among all citizens, goes hand in hand. The Ocean Panel has developed an action agenda that is informed by a comprehensive assessment of ocean science and knowledge, including a series of 16 blue papers and various special reports. This agenda is encapsulated in a leader's transformation document, the embodiment of the comprehensive work the Ocean Panel has been carrying out over the last 2 years, with a view to deepening our understanding of the ocean as a resource for humanity's prosperity, as well as its immense potential to enhance human development. The leader's transformation document contains proposals to enhance humanity's relationship with the oceans, bridge ocean health and wealth, work with diverse stakeholders, harness the latest ocean knowledge, and develop an action agenda for transforming into a sustainable ocean economy. For us as a country, the Sustainable Ocean Economy Agenda provides an opportunity to safeguard our ocean resources, generate new livelihoods, create wealth from marine-based industries, enhance the sustenance of coastal communities, and most important, protect our natural resources for future generations. The estimated annual economic value of goods and services in Kenya's marine and coastal ecosystem is slightly over $4.4 billion US, underpinning therefore the critical need to invest much more in protecting our ocean resources, tap into the potential of our oceans, and ensure we manage them sustainably. This significant economic wealth depends on the health and functioning of ocean ecosystems, those that produce the fish we eat, earn school fees for generations of coastal children, the reefs that draw tourists to our shores, protect our ports, cities, and infrastructure from ocean waves. So to attain a sustainable blue economy, we must first ensure the safety and security of our ocean space and put in place safeguards for our marine ecosystems to achieve the production and prosperity we aspire to. Today, therefore, as we build on conversations of the past few years, we shall also reflect on the implications for our country. We will hear from stakeholders across government, the private sector, and the civil society on advancing the Sustainable Oceans Agenda. Key themes will include ocean wealth, health, equity, knowledge, and finance. We will also explore challenges, opportunities, and priorities for our country going forward. But most important, we anticipate that this launch of the Ocean Panel in Kenya will be just the beginning of long-standing conversations, actions, and collaboration as we work together to develop a sustainable ocean economy. I thank you all for listening to me and wish us all fruitful discussions. Thank you. I submit.
Asante Sana PS, and thank you for that context, which is so important and so useful for people to understand what it is that this conversation is about. I'm excited to then welcome Dr. Abura, who will lead the next panel discussion. And Dr. Abura is a member of the high-level technical panel, a scientist by background. And it is such a proud moment to have Kenyans in these leadership opportunities and leading the global conversation. But before you come on, Dr. Abura, we will play a quick video from the co-presidents, from the two presidents who are the co-chairs of the high-level panel, so that we can broaden people's understanding of what the high-level panel is. And so I'll ask the team to play the quick video, and immediately it's done, we'll come over to you, Dr. Abura, to run the panel.
I am Erna Solberg, Prime Minister of Norway.
I am Tamir Mangsau Jr., President of Palau.
We represent very different nations in culture, economy, and geography, but we share the same ocean. Our ocean today faces multiple threats, all human-made, from climate change to ocean acidification, overfishing, and marine pollution. The same ocean is critical to the planet, to our health, to our lives. From food security to clean energy, to recovery and jobs, the ocean provides solutions. That's why we need to give it 100%. Today, we are 14 heads of government calling for a transformation in how we manage the ocean to achieve better protection, more production, and shared prosperity.
More than 2 years ago, we set out to shape a transformative agenda to advance a sustainable ocean economy for a healthy ocean alongside sustainable production to benefit people everywhere. We commissioned more than 230 world-leading experts to provide us with new science, knowledge, and opportunities for action. Their work is captured in an impressive report published today titled Ocean Solutions for People, Nature, and the Economy. It presents science-based, practical solutions and abundant evidence of the benefits of ocean action for people, nature, and the economy. As leaders of 14 ocean states, we build on this knowledge in the far-reaching political document we are launching today, Transformations for a Sustainable Ocean Economy.
Where ocean protection, production, and prosperity go hand in hand. Our 14 countries represent 30% of the world's coastlines and 30% of the world's national waters. As leaders of our countries, we have together committed to sustainable management of all our ocean territories. Again, we are giving it 100%.
This pandemic has highlighted the need for transformative change in our relationship with nature. Building a sustainable ocean economy is one of the most important tasks and one of the greatest opportunities of our time. This is a critical moment to start, and we need to give it 100%.
For people, for nature, and for jobs, we call on other world leaders and partners across the private sector, financial community, civil society, and others to join us in making the 100% goal a reality.
Well, good afternoon, good day to all on the panel. Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this. It's a real honor. And to hear this powerful message for 100% to give the ocean so it can give us in return. I want to welcome you all to this first moderated panel discussion, where we will explore the regional perspectives and national priorities on the sustainable ocean economy agenda. I have a panel of 5 distinguished and senior members of government and international diplomatic community to give their perspectives. I would like to say it's a real pleasure for me to be here, being a Kenyan scientist in our national contribution under the high-level panel and the international expert group, to see our science coming forward into this high-level policy discussion, raising awareness and giving pointers to the future. So I'll start with introducing my 5 panel members. I'll introduce them all together and then turn to them in order for some of the questions. So first, I'd like to introduce Her Excellency Josefa Sacco. She is an African Union Commissioner for Rural Economy and Agriculture. Prior to this, she was a special advisor to 2 ministers in Angola, the Minister for Environment and the Minister for Agriculture. Next, I'll introduce Honorable Najib Balala. He's our Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife in Kenya. Mr. Balala has led the Ministries of Tourism and Mining at different times, and he's played a significant role in boosting growth and stability in the Kenyan and regional tourism sector, working closely with private institutional investors, as well as with conservation and regional development agencies. Next, Honorable Salim Mvurya is the governor of Kwale County, our southernmost county on the coast here, hosting beautiful coral reefs and mangroves. Mr. Mvurya is a leader of the Jumuiya ya Kaunti za Pwani, the umbrella body formed by the 6 coastal counties working towards economic transformation of the coastal region. And prior to this, he has worked strongly in the development sector in designing and implementing development programs across many different sectors. Next, Ambassador Macharia Kamau is Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ambassador Kamau is a career diplomat with a rich experience, and he's served a key role as Kenya's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. And in this capacity, he was instrumental in developing the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And then lastly, I'll introduce Professor Micheni Ntiba, the Permanent Secretary, Principal Secretary for State Department for Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Blue Economy. Professor Ntiba is well known to us in the research community as he has over 15 years of experience working in academia and research, and he was director of the School of Biological Sciences at the University of Nairobi and various positions in the Department of Zoology. So welcome, panelists. And if you please, I'll go through my questions to you, I think one by one first, and in order to get some discussion before coming around to a second level of questions, if you can answer them in 3 to 4 minutes. But I'll start with Ambassador Macharia. As one of the high-level panel countries leading Africa in advocating for actions that will benefit local communities, Kenya has made several commitments and steps towards refining and implementing our Blue Economy agenda. So my question is, what progress has Kenya made to date, and what have some of the key lessons been? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for posing the question to me. Those who will be speaking after me will have great information on the kind of progress that Kenya has made on building up its capacity around the blue economy. And so what I'm going to do is to set a little bit of a context, considering that Kenya was actually instrumental in getting the world to begin to focus around the whole idea of the blue economy, and precisely to begin to define it as an area of global need and global reaction, and sort of balancing the whole concept of economic on one side, production, economic, and the necessity to create and sustain livelihoods, and on the other side, the necessity to preserve the oceans and the seas and make sure that they continue to play the role that they play in climate, in sustaining our livelihoods worldwide. So we're very proud of the fact that the Blue Economy Conference set in motion a series of global actions that have come to be signature actions that the world has embraced fully, and that were mentioned by the co-presidents who just spoke to this matter a few minutes ago. But for Kenya, of course, we have been revamping our entire economy in very significant ways. Even in the midst of the COVID pandemic, Kenya remains focused on how it's going to maximize the opportunity that's provided by the blue economy, whether it is by engaging in activities along our shorelines that speak to how we can get those economies along the shorelines working, or whether it's actually speaking to the activities around the lakes and the rivers, particularly the lakes that present such an incredible opportunity for us and have been a historical source of livelihood for so many of our people. So this has been very important. But we have made progress. We've put in place the national policy documentation. We've put in place national institutions. We have a ministry that is dedicated to working on the blue economy. We have science and technology initiatives that are running across the entire span of our work and how we engage. As I said a little earlier, our economy is being tweaked and guided to take full advantage of what's available to us along our shores and our lake regions. Our shipping and maritime policies and actions are picking up and have become very instrumental in guiding us. We've revamped our ports. We are building a greater capacity to be able to become a maritime actor. And all this also takes into account the challenge of trying to exploit the opportunity that tourism, which I'm sure Minister Balala will speak to, provides, that really sees the blue economy as a basis for its exploitation. So Kenya is on a number of levels undertaking a series of activities that have really transformed how we are engaging in the area of the blue economy and how we intend to become part of that transformative global action that will not only protect the seas and the oceans, the rivers and the lakes, but will also make sure that great opportunity that is availed by these resources still comes to bear on the livelihoods of our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Picking up on your point of the economic value of the blue economy, and it has been estimated, if I can direct my next question to Professor Ntiba then, is the economic value of goods and services in our blue economy in the Western Indian Ocean has been estimated over $22 billion. And this provides many different opportunities. Perhaps can you give us an idea of the innovative opportunities for the private sector that are available in Kenya, and what strategies are there to stimulate private investment while ensuring protection of ocean resources and ecosystems?
David, thank you very much. And to deal with this issue of the potential that we have in the Western Indian Ocean area, I think first of all, let me comment on this to say this, but I think the countries in the Western Indian Ocean region, I think have to very soon try to verify this estimate, which I think we have been discussing with others. I'm saying that this figure is largely thought to be a gross underestimate of the potential of a blue economy in the WIO region. I think the other thing I want to say about this figure is that there's need for us moving forward to split this value in terms of the contribution by each ocean natural resource that we have, and also probably to look at it from what does each critical ecosystem in the ocean contribute to this value. I think another critical part about this is that our experts who undertake this valuation, in my own view, looking at what has been happening, is that we need to extend this beyond the biophysical, chemical scientists to include economic planners, economists, and the social scientists, so that can be able to get the true value of our ocean area. Having said this, for us, I think the blue economy provides innovative opportunities for the private sector and others to stimulate investments while ensuring the protection of the ocean resources and the ecosystems. First of all, to say that we recognize the potential of a blue economy in this country overall was that His Excellency the President established a committee in September 2016 that developed a Blue Economy Revival Initiative, which prescribed how to unlock the blue economy potential in this country. Initially, the committee's effort targeted fisheries, shipping, and maritime affairs as low-lying fruits, but is now extending to other areas. And also to mention that from our perspective, the committee has and other advantages that an ocean and a blue economy office has recently been established in OP to continue these works, and more particularly also to venture beyond fisheries shipping, and maritime affairs. Our government is providing a lot of infrastructure and tax incentives to advertise investments in the ocean economy. You will know that we are investing in the development of ports and associated coastal infrastructure. For example, you know about the Lamu port and the South Sudan Ethiopia transport corridor. We are building fish ports as high priority from Blue Economy Revival Package incentives, so that fishing vessels, whether they are distant water fishing vessels, and the developing national fishing fleet that we have in this country, can be able to bring fish catch to our ports, to develop processing capabilities, and also to be able to boost fisheries businesses in our country to benefit our people. You also know that from our perspective, we are developing other fishing ports in Iwatoni in Mombasa. We intend to have a state-of-the-art modern fish processing factory at Iwatoni in Mombasa. We are developing also others in Shimoni, Kwale, and very many gazetted landing sites are also being upgraded to service the fisheries industry and give the Kenyan people opportunity to be able to grow this sector. Members, you also know that there are very many incentives that have been given recently to promote investments in shipbuilding and repairs, container repairs, and bunkering, which I think is an important area in the nexus between water and land in the oceans. I think this is very important because that's how we live. And this is an area that our government is providing a lot of incentives and doing a lot of work. We are reviving the Kenya National Shipping Line so that we can become a country that participates in these processes and be able to give trade and businesses to our people and to the world. We also, as a country, are also creating special economic zones. And we know we have a lot of this in the port cities of Mombasa, Lamu, Kisumu, and I think also you know that we have this in Naivasha to be able to promote investments in this country. GUK also is building capacity in the maritime sector through skills development, because we need people with the skills so that Kenyans can be able to optimize socioeconomic benefits from the blue economy. And I think if you are thinking and looking at what we've been doing, is that we have Kenyans now working around the world in transport ships, work in deep sea fishing vessels. In fact, we have a program to train 1,000 Kenyans to participate in the deep sea fishing industry that is developing in Kenya in ships here, or also to be able to work in other ships that are in the diaspora, wherever fishing is done. To ensure the sustainable use of our ocean resources, the government of Kenya has also developed a mangrove management plan that provides the roadmap towards sustainable management of mangrove ecosystems. And this is very important because if we don't develop and protect some of these critical ecosystems, including mangroves, coral reefs, seaweeds, and others, and eventually what we are going to have is that we are going to have a dead sea, and I don't think that is the intention. And so this is very important. And I think moving forward, we also want to increase the area under conservation in Kenya. Right now, we have just 1%, while there is the thought in the world that about 30% of our ocean space should be under protection, and we are planning for this moving forward.
Prof, Sorry, Prof, we're running out of time, if I may ask you to wrap up.
Yeah, I think also to remind ourselves that Kenya ratified the FAO Port-State Measures Agreement in 2009, which is going to contribute towards eradicating IUU in our country moving forward. And also to indicate that there are many other things that we can be able to do, like to develop our marine spatial plan. And I think this is an activity that all of us who participate, I think we discussed it today in the PSS meeting. We need to plan for our ocean space for us to be able to. So we welcome private sector, everybody else to do with it. Finally, to also say that we need to involve the people. An ocean without the citizens' participation will not become an ocean that develops the country. So I think we have done a lot of that. I think we should also start utilizing the Ocean Teacher Academy, that is at the Kenya Marine Fisheries Research Institute, particularly to teach the young people so that they grow with the knowledge of the sea and do not wait to become old men like Obura and I moving forward. I think I'll stop there. There are many things we can do.
Okay, thank you, Prof. And indeed, you touched on many different aspects of the blue economy. And I think an important one that we want to turn to with Honorable Balala is coastal tourism. And especially in this time of COVID, where we have an estimate of losing up to 80 billion shillings, perhaps, during the lockdown this year. And I wonder, in light of these effects, what recovery strategies are in place to revive coastal tourism and other related industries that rely on it in relation to the blue economy?
Thank you very much, David, and thank you very much, colleagues in government and all of us. And this is a great day today because we are talking about the blue economy. First of all, yes, tourism is a fundamental driver of employment globally. It's 10% of the global GDP. It has 1.4 billion people who have traveled in 2019. Kenya, we had almost 2.2 million people who have arrived into Kenya. Unfortunately, today's figures that I've launched is that we have lost 72% of our arrivals. We have managed to get almost 400,000 in the last 10 months in Kenya, but only 19% are supposed to be tourists. But remember, we had January and February that was opened. So even that's 20% or 19%, it is not really tourism. Most of the people who came between January and October were mainly visiting friends and family and maybe essential business. And you can see, because Kenya or Africa seems to be much safer in this pandemic, and that's why people are visiting here. Tourism globally is driven by beach tourism. And in Kenya, before it was 70% tourism and 30% wildlife safari. But now it's the opposite. It's 30% tourism, beach tourism, and then 70% safari. Nevertheless, beach tourism is crucial. It's a major driver in terms of volume, it's a major driver in terms of employment, and we need to protect it. We launched a beach tourism strategy last year so that we can develop beach tourism in the real aspect of it. Remember also, tourism can be pure polluters if we don't manage the environment. But definitely, I can tell you that beach tourism is crucial. It's important currently. When it was 70% beach tourism in Kenya, it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then it flipped to safari tourism. But we need a lot of investment to be done. One, we need to definitely support the private sector in redeveloping tourism. And the products are tired and they need refresh. That's why we lost competition in beach tourism to our neighbors or to people like the Caribbeans and the Far East. But yes, beach tourism is crucial and we need to regulate it nowadays. One, we need to make sure that it's environmental friendly. And now we are talking about green tourism. It's not just about environment. So it's about energy, it's about water recycling, it's about sewage, it's about even dumping the swimming pool, chlorinated swimming pool water into the sea, and also developing too close to the sea. We have seen the rising of the ocean. We have seen the beach erosion as well, and people are putting all these walls against their property, and they are losing properties. So these are the challenges, and we should control development near the sea, despite we want to open tourism. The other thing that we do in the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife through Kenya Wildlife Servicing is managing reserves and parks. And that is what we have developed so far. It's only a fraction, a small fraction of less than 1%. We are supposed to target through the CBD to 10%, and we are working with the community conservation areas where we can develop up to 10%. But yes, we need to safeguard, we need to protect. The first agenda should be protection of our ocean, then we'll be able to produce and be able to get much more. The potential is huge in tourism because it's not just about building hotels, it's creating activities at the hotels. Yes, and on the ocean, sports, ocean sports tourism is crucial. We recently, as a government, built a cruise terminal at the Kenya Port Authority in Mombasa. We want to attract cruise tourism in our region. Okay, now is a complicated time because of COVID, but I can tell you that is the future as well. And we need to come with our neighbors who are sharing this ocean. You cannot just to be one point destination. It has to be a circuit, the Indian Ocean circuit. And that is what we are working to develop. I have appointed with TMA a consultant to look at the strategies. How do we market? How do we develop this sector? We are giving into making sure that these are the right things we are doing. I think you are aware that President Uhuru Kenyatta has launched 3 billion shillings soft loan for refurbishment of hotels. He has also launched 1 billion shillings for Rangers Fund and 1 billion shillings for KWS to recruit conservation scouts. So these are the beneficiaries, particularly on the beach, because we have to work with BMUs and make sure that they do their role in conserving the beach tourism. So yes, I know the future, it must be first health and safety of our clients. Secondly, it must be green. We must talk about green tourism. And then we must put technology and innovation in the beginning and the foundation of reviving tourism in our country. And yes, if you don't respect the local community, and we can't build 5-star hotels under poverty or under people who are deprived to benefit from the resources, which is tourism. And then finally, we must value what domestic tourism is, because today, the only people who are giving us business is the domestic market. So David, thank you very much. And I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Balal. I think that's a great range of ideas you've pointed out there. And I'd like to turn to Governor Mvurya now, who is on the ground as the governor of Kwale County that borders the ocean. This all happens in the space of your county and down to the local levels. Now, what has the county government done to enhance sustainable use of the ocean space, and what transformative opportunities do exist for the future? Governor Mvurya, you're still muted.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and for the opportunity and to participate in this high-level program. And I also want to thank His Excellency. Kwale County is one of the counties here in the coastal region that border the Indian Ocean. We have a 250 kilometers coastline. And just to take up from where CS Balala stopped, we have reliance on tourism as our mainstay of the economy, and also fishing. So the ocean to us, and what the county government has done, a beach management program where we have a beach management unit, and currently we have supported the beach management units into groups. So we have now about 20 to 30 fishermen put together. Then we support them with vessels, with also fishing nets and other equipment so that we can be able to explore the skills and capacity. We have also been able, agencies like Kemfree and KWS in Vanga and Kiwegu, and the goal of this program is basically to manage mangroves as part of conservation. And in this program, which has been very successful in the area of Gazi, and this has been able to even support the communities with carbon credit. It has been recognized internationally. We have also been working on marine reserve management plan for Diani Chale. This is a program that we continue to work together with the KWS, where we support work investment in fish processing. Right now we have an investor in Shimoni who has been able to put up a plant. And then we are also working with women groups in the area of Kibuyuni and Gazi on seaweed farming. So this is a program. We have also been addressing the issue of landing sites, because currently the challenge we have is most of the landing sites have been grabbed. So this is a program that we are also doing to reclaim them back so that we can be able to support our fishing communities to be able to improve their production. We also do periodic cleaning of the beaches because, again, beach cleaning has been our key activity, and that is why the Diani beach has been voted as the best destination in Africa in beach tourism for the last 7 years. Then we also have a program which we are working with UNDP, basically an environmental conservation program, which we are doing in Wasini, Eastern Africa. Yeah, so there are quite a number of other opportunities. There are quite a number of opportunities that we have been able to identify in terms of sustaining the ocean. And as I already mentioned about our promotion of marine farming, where we do the seaweed. There's also potential with the marine transport, which has remained largely untapped. And we feel this is an area that can be explored, especially as we talk about the special economic zone in Dongo Kundu. We could also have a good maritime transport route, especially from the area of Vanga to Sunza, which can be able to explore new areas of investment. We also support the BMUs and the fishing community in value addition. This together with especially now that we have embraced the blue economy. There's also big potential for development of tidal wind energy, which has remained untapped. And as we do marine spatial planning, I think this will be an opportunity to transform the entire marine activities and regulate human exploitation. In the future, we need a clear policy and legal framework on climate change so that we can harness our potential in protecting the ocean. Then they are also mobilizing stakeholders to make climate change our key agenda as we conserve the marine ecosystem. So I think briefly, those are some of the areas that I thought I would share with the panel. But of course, there are quite a number of other activities that the county government is doing, which could be shared in another forum.
Thank you very much, Governor. And I will come for my last question because we have come close to the end of the time for our panel. We're going to leap straight back up to the international level with Her Excellency Josefa Sacco. And the question is about in what way the high-level panel for sustainable ocean economy, how this agenda aligns with the African Union's Blue Economy strategy, and what role can Kenya and the other African countries play in the HLP in realizing Africa's vision for the sustainable blue economy. If you can give us your thoughts in 2 to 3 minutes, we'd appreciate that. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Hello.
Hello,
Good
Ambassador.
afternoon.
We can hear you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Sorry, I had a lot of connectivity problem. I couldn't connect with you. And thank you very much for giving me the floor. On behalf of the African Union Commission, I am honored to participate in this high-level panel for Sustainable Ocean Economy Global Launch of Leaders Transformation. Your Excellencies, our esteemed leader, all protocol duly observed. Allow me to thank the Republic of Kenya for the contribution extended to the African Union Commission to the blue economy agenda of in Africa. Going to your question that you answer me, there is a strong political will by our leaders to support the blue economy. This has been demonstrated by the African Union Summit endorsing a decision to create a dedicated unit on the blue economy in the new structure of the Commission through the process of reform. So we now have a unit of blue economy on the sector, and this unit is in my department that where I have the mandate to handle. Secondly, Kenya and other HLP countries should maintain the political will to work on promoting a sustainable ocean economy and set a good example for other member countries to follow up, because this is a very important agenda, and the lesson learned from one country and to try to stream to other countries, it's very important. A multi-stakeholder approach in the implementation of Blue Economy Program. The HLP countries are also expected to take a lead in advocating and sharing the best practices and knowledge to support other member countries, as I already said. It is my view that these leaders should also ensure that African blue economy needs articulated at the global fora, because we need to really come out with a proper, proper understanding of our blue economy and where are the areas, the action that we have to take in order to implement also our blue economy strategy that was approved this year during the Summit of Head of State. But finally, on this question, we count on the HLP, we count on this platform to also defend the need for Africa to sustainably manage ocean and other water bodies, because we have rivers, we have lakes, for the ecosystem service and climate mitigation role, in addition to all other economic benefits that we can take from this blue economy. I thank you for this question.
Thank you, Ambassador. And now we have come to the end of our time on this panel. I'll have to say thank you to all the distinguished panelists that we've had. It's been a great pleasure to moderate this session and to really hear these high-level messages about our developments, the ocean here behind me, how we can look after it, because we really do need, our people need to prosper. We need to produce sustainably, and we need to protect these ecosystems so that they can provide for us into the future. So with that, I'll hand back to Mr. Macharia. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, David, for actively guiding us through that. It hopefully sets the table for people to understand at a macro level, what does the HLP mean and what are the things that it's looking to achieve? What are these 5 transformations that the HLP has put forward? So how do we, transformations around ocean wealth, ocean health, ocean equity, ocean knowledge, and ocean finance. But as we say in Kenya, these things are interesting at a high level, but qua ground are things different. And so really excited about the next panel, which will be led by the very able Dr. Jacqueline Uku, who is again another leading scientist who has been a core part of the technical committee of the HLP, Kenyan, who is leading this conversation at a global level. We'll hand over to Dr. Uku to lead that discussion with members who are truly at the ground. But before we do that, I'll ask the team to play one quick video again, to set context on what are these things that we're talking about at a macro level. Over to you, Dr. Uku.
Thank you, Edwin. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this second panel, which is deeply exciting for me as I lead it. I'm a career scientist and also a member of the HLP panel, and I lead a group of, and a community of scientists through leading the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association in this region. So it is with great pleasure that I am participating in this dialogue. I have 5 panelists with me, and I look at them as change agents and champions of transformation. And we'll be hearing a little bit about the work that they've been doing as they share their thoughts with us this afternoon. My first panelist is Mr. Emmanuel Nzai, who is the CEO of Jumuiya ya Counties za Pwani. He leads this economic development formation of Kenya's 6 coastal counties that comprise of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, and Taita Taveta. And the mission of JKP is to catalyze economic growth of the coastal counties, create a shared prosperity for communities. And in their work, they have prioritized blue economy and its value chains, as well as a focus on livestock and horticulture. The second person on my panel is Mr. Tom Guda, who is the national chairman of BMUs, and BMUs stand for Beach Management Units. He heads the National BMU Association, which is a lobby group that promotes fishermen's welfare. We also have a young lady, Madam Elizabeth Marami, who is a second officer on MV Celebrity Edge, which is a ship. And she's our first female marine pilot. And her work entails assisting vessels find their way into Kenya's waters. In addition to this, she runs an initiative known as Against the Tide, which aims at promoting gender balance in the maritime industry. With us today, we also have Madam Fatuma Mohammed, who is the chairperson of Kibuyuni Seaweed Farmers Association from Kwale County. And I know Honorable Mumvuri has made reference to her work. The group began growing seaweed commercially following support from the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, where I'm based. And they have moved towards adding value through manufacturing soap, shampoo, amongst other things. And lastly, my last panelist for the day will be Mr. Peter Ngovo from the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA. He's also a managing director at SIA Processing Limited and one of the leading seafood companies in Kenya. So my panelists will be looking at the current situation on the ground. As I mentioned before, they're coming from the community level. They'll be talking to us about challenges and opportunities in promoting a transformational, sustainable blue economy agenda. So I'll begin with Mr. Nzai. Welcome to the panel. I'll ask you a combined combination of questions, which you will respond to. And what we would like to hear from you very briefly, what priority areas the economic bloc that you're leading, Jumuiya ya Counties of Pwani has identified to realize optimum benefits from our marine resources for the coastal communities. The other thing I'd like you to reflect on briefly is how counties can benefit from the marine spatial planning that we've heard on this forum. This is a new initiative for Kenya. How can we engage them further for the protection of marine resources and ecosystems? Over to you, Mr. Nzai.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, and panelists, everyone, for the opportunity. I think it is very, very unique, as Dr. David said, in terms of us participating in this conversation, one of its kind. So we thank you so much. Following, I think, from what Navura, who is also the chairman of the economic bloc, said, I think that was, he answered part of these questions. But I think to the first question, in terms of the Jumuiya County priorities to optimize benefits, the marine resources, I think the number one of this has really been the transformational nature of the county governments themselves, the legal, policy, and institutional framework, and their mandates. And I think that the innovation step that they took forward for them to form the regional economic blocks, which basically, at least for the coastal counties, it is to coordinate the region in terms of policy, that they can harmonize with. Secondly, promoting the region as a tourism and investment destination. Lastly, investments in the various opportunities which we have in the region. So I think the number one that we have done is to put this institution, but also secondly, come up with a regional economic bloc and a regional economic blueprint that we call the Jumuiya 2030, mimicking the Vision 2030, whose goal is a million income with shared prosperity of the coastal people, the 70% that CS Balala was talking about, where we have all these resources, but a good percentage of the population of the 4.3 million are poor. So the idea is, if the county governments can work together, the limited resources that they have, they combine the policies that they have, they lift the county boundaries and really think themselves as a region, as an economic cluster, also as one nation from the national government point. So I think the biggest thing that we have done
in that economic blueprint is to highlight 10 key areas in agribusiness, food and nutrition security, trade and industries. This is the manufacturing, the special economic zones, the blue economy itself, the natural resources and environment. This is looking at the mining side, but also the sensitive environment of the sea and land. Urbanization, which is rapidly growing, health and education, infrastructure, and financial resources. I think some of the things that we have, some key flagships around this, which I think CS Ntiba also mentioned, which came out from this blueprint, the deep sea fishing vessels in partnership with beach management units. Much of the interventions, which Governor Mvurya also spoke about, is we have mostly focused on the county government mandates around the beach management units, the landing sites. The county governments are in charge of organizing and supporting the fishermen, the capacity building, and all of them have a site of more than 150 beach management units along the coast. So the county governments have really been working on that, and we think if we focus on that, then probably things will change. Another flagship project, Maritime and Inland Water Transport System with Kenya Ferry, tourism, culture and heritage development, which is one of the projects within the GoBlue. If I was to move into the next one in terms of the benefits of the marine spatial planning, I think this is a very important aspect for us because it builds on the fact that there has been a major disconnect between spatial planning and economic planning. It focuses on strengthening the linkages between land-based planning approaches, economic and environmental planning. And in our case, I think it will integrate and enhance the ongoing county spatial planning and strengthen the county integrated development planning processes. Again, at a high level, probably, if we are to probably count some of those benefits in this action, is that management units, again, are very, very critical. And that is the first line of most of the fishermen who are there, but all the population from the coastal region who interact with a very fragile ecosystem. So the idea is if this happens, then the like of development of joint co-management areas with stakeholders will be enhanced. There's been a lot of work in this space where mostly it has been research, but the disconnect between the fishermen and the beach management unit has been very, very high. So we think that will probably help quite a bit. Helping the fisher communities in managing and protecting these ecosystems. Also investments. I think Governor Mvurya talked about the offshore and the wind energy, which we need to tap in to probably give some relief in some of the industry development of our place. Land and sea planning to include land-based activities that have impact on ocean and coastal cities. In conclusion, Jackie, I think on my end, I think there are really 4 critical things that potentially from a regional economic bloc and the first blue counties, the 6 coastal counties, have discussed quite a bit, and they come in different ways. One is there needs to be a commitment to institutionalize the regional county economic blocks to support the coordination of the national and regional county governments. This is inter-county towards local economic development. It is radical in many, many ways, but that's what we need for us to shift from the top-bottom to the bottom-up kind of approach. We need, and this has come in heavily from the county governors themselves, that there needs to be an established dedicated Minister of Blue Economy to consolidate tourism, fisheries, maritime, and the offshore activities. This, I think, will cut out through the bureaucracies. Another one is implement the presidential decree, which was given by the president in terms of the Department of Fisheries and the National Lands Commission to repossess all public gazetted fish landing sites that were illegally acquired. This was to be done by March 2019, and I think Governor Mvurya also spoke about. Lastly, to the high-level panel, one of the key projects that we have been able to do And this is part of this, I think, the initiative of this panel. We have the GoBlue project in partnership with the European Union, one of its kind. We think the architecture of it, it's about livelihoods, it's about economic development, it's about the bottom-up approach. It's involving a lot of agencies in it. It's a 2.5 billion shilling fund to run for a period of 4 years. We want to thank you, much of the European Union community and the Kenya government, the national level, the ministry, who have been able to do this. It will be launched in January. And we think that is going to be a platform where much partners can basically be able to plug in for us to one, grow the fund, but secondly, have these interventions which have a very strong architecture on the devolved mandates of the county governments, but to also bring the national government and other partners. Jacqueline, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nzai, for that. I'll turn over to Tom Guda. Tom, we know fisheries activities are important. That's where fishers, communities get their food. And we find also there have been concerns over sustainability, over exploitation, and also fishers cite a lack of adequate tools and fleet, among many others. I'll ask you only one question and give you very few minutes, maybe 3 minutes to respond to it. When we go out to sea, we often see an older generation. We see the Wazee getting involved in fisheries. And I'm looking for what type of opportunities exist to support young entrepreneurs. Can you tell us something about the youth that are currently engaged in this industry and how they can scale up their business? Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Tom. Unmute yourself. Thank you. Tom, please unmute.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Please
now
proceed.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
You cannot hear me. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And I also want to thank everyone and the organizers for inviting us to this high panel meeting. Now, the opportunities that exist to support young entrepreneurs in growing and scaling their businesses. One of them would be right now, because concerns are being raised about overexploitation of the capture fisheries. And today, as we speak, world over, everyone is going to cage culture. And I believe cage culture is a good opportunity that youth can form cooperatives and engage in not just in the lakes, but small water bodies and carry out this kind of fishery. There is also employment in industries and fishing. The drive to flag new offshore vessels in Kenya's marine waters will provide employment of youths as crew. As was mentioned by Prof. Ntiba, there is opportunity that has been created by government, where government plans to train over 1,000 young persons as fishing crew. And I believe this is going to really help the young people in the Republic of Kenya, so that this can help them get deployed locally and in foreign vessels, as well as in local vessels. The creation of the Kenya Fishing Industries Corporation and the opening of the Liwatoni Fish Processing Complex, this also will go a long way in creating direct employment to the youth, as well as create other auxiliary activities for the youth. Now, to support, there is need to enhance community-based management, which again, I'm happy has been highlighted by Governor Mvurya and Cabinet Minister Balala, so that there is a participatory approach in management of the blue economy. Here, the communities will look at the resource at their own and strive to manage and conserve it for future generations. And the Fisheries Act provides that very clearly. So that's one way that I believe ownership is going to be carried out. We also need to develop inventories and databases for specific blue economy resources. And this will be to follow up on areas of weaknesses and provide baseline information required for upscaling. I wanted as well, because I know you asked me one question, to look at the opportunities that are very key. And I think this is passionate to me, because we need to really build on what currently exists among the fishing crew and the members.
So Tom, I'm giving you one minute, just 1 minute to give me that. Thank you.
Yes, I want to talk about opportunity that exists to support young entrepreneurs. The value addition aspect, and here I'm talking about rudimentary methods that have been used, traditional smoking, salting. We need now to come in with opportunities of filleting, modern smoking, canning of fish sausages for low value fish. All these will be very important. I also wanted to implore on the need to improve on technology on input supplies, both construction and gear fabrication. If you look at Lamu, Malindi, and the small island Kitenyi in Mfangano, we have had those indigenous boat makers for a long time. They have done this for many years and they have done it well. There is need for injection of direct government support and to enhance a favorable business environment for this industry to spark. I believe strongly that this industry can do very, very well. Then finally, on ship engineering, there is need to repair and assemblage of ship accessories is a gray area that can attract a number of youth if they are properly trained and financed. So I believe these, alongside fish handling and hygiene practices, these are areas that I think the youth can tap into and make good money and improve on their livelihoods. Thank you so much. I know there was little time, I could have gone further, but thank you so much, Dr. Jacqueline, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Tom. Very interesting points. We move to Madam Elizabeth Marami. As we speak, Elizabeth is somewhere on the high seas coming to us into this dialogue. And so I'd like to welcome you, Elizabeth, and just ask you about maritime training initiatives. A lot has been done and it has met overwhelming interest from thousands of youth, which demonstrates the eagerness of young people to participate in the ocean economy. A lot has been done, but you may have some broader ideas that you could share with us on how we can increase participation of young men and women in the ocean economy, and also what skills and knowledge gap need to be filled to enable more people to fully benefit from this resource. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I'll start by answering your first question on what else needs to be done to increase the participation of young women and men in the ocean economy. I think the key thing here is going to be awareness, because in layman's, if I could just say it in layman's term, is we cannot change what we do not know. So if there's no knowledge and skill and expertise towards ocean economy, then the implementations that are being suggested to be solutions towards the sustainability will be falling on deaf ears. So I believe one of the transformations of the ocean economy's sustainability is ocean knowledge. And so the ocean itself is a very vital and complex natural system, and it's so important to build literacy and skill around it. And I feel fortunate personally to be waking up every morning to these complexities of the oceans on board Celebrity Edge, where I'm currently working. And I'm able to understand the need to conserve this and to also implement the initiatives that have been put across by Celebrity Cruises and Royal Caribbean as a whole. And one of the key things that I will really emphasize that I've seen has been working is partnerships. Partnerships are key. Partnerships are key towards awareness. For example, I work in the cruise industry currently, and in the cruise industry, we just don't bring our guests on board the ships, but we go ahead and try and make them aware of ocean conservancy and to be aware that as they enjoy the beauty of this, it's important for them to conserve. And one of the key things they have done is we're in partnerships with the World Wildlife Fund to expose our guests towards understanding this. So I strongly believe that we need to go over and beyond to invest in knowledge, skills, training, capacity building, and strong partnerships so that we can create awareness and increase participation of young women and men in the ocean economy. And if I would go to your second question, whereby you've talked about what we can do more to address the knowledge gaps and the skills. And usually the knowledge gaps come based on individuals, low and high socioeconomic levels, meaning that there is a gap in between whereby those who have access to the knowledge are able to grow and to address these gaps, and they're the marginalized that are not able to access this. And this, I believe, is addressed on ocean equity in the ocean economy. And when we are addressing this, I believe the elephant in the room right now would be to go back to the drawing board and see what were the results from this maritime and education training that was implemented as resources. It's very important to have data. Again, if I could echo where I currently work, whereby each and every day, it's not about what we are doing now, it's about continuous improvement. It's about having the data, going back to looking at the data, the people that we were able to enroll in this maritime and education training schools, how far did they go? Were they able to continue succeeding, or did they drop out of school because of lack of a step that is needed? And what more can we do? We need the numbers. We need to be able to work with these numbers so that we can be able to have the actual data that we need to say that we are actually achieving something, a sustainable solution. And if they're not satisfactory, what are we going to do? Are we going to go back to the drawing board? It's all about continuous improvement. Here on where I work, every day, everywhere our ships go, we operate with the philosophy of continuous improvement. We cannot be comfortable with where we are, but if you're looking for sustainable solutions, that is what we need. That's all on my end.
Thank you very, very much, Elizabeth, for keeping it clear and very, very precise. I am moving on to invite Madam Fatma Mohamed, and I'll switch to Kiswahili. As Madam Fatma comes on, tunajua kaunti ya Kwale na kijiji ya Kibuyuni haswa inaongoza kwa kilimo cha mwani katika pwani ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo Mama Fatma, nitakuuliza, je, unafikiri kama jamii ya Kibuyuni imefanikiwa na mpango wa mwani? Madam Fatma, asante. Yes, na kuona. Unaweza kuendelea.
Asante sana madamu kunipatia nafasi hii kuongea mapato ambayo yalipatikana kwa jamii ya Kibuyuni katika ya ukuzaji wa mwani Kibuyuni. Jamii ilifaidika pakubwa, ingawa sio vile, lakini tulifaidika. Kijiji cha Kibuyuni, jamii kando na tukua hatuna hiyo ukuzaji wa mwani, tulipopata ukuzaji wa mwani Kibuyuni, jamii sana hususan waliangalia mambo na elimu. Ilikuwa ni nadhira kupata vijana form 4, saa hii wanapatikana ma form 4 tuliwasomesha vijana. Pili, tulikuwa tuko na nyumba za udongo, zile nyumba za makuti, saa hii jamii imetoa makuti, wametoa udongo, tumekuwa saa hii nyumba za bloki na tena ziko na bati. Kibuyuni tulipokuwa tunakuza hichi kilimo cha mwani, ilikuwa tunakuza tu na kufanya biashara nayo, lakini tuliweza kupata elimu. Saa hii huu mwani unatusaidia upande na sabuni, tunatengeza sabuni, tumeufanya value addition. Tunatengeza sabuni, tunatengeza mafuta ya kujipaka, tunatengeza shampoo, tunatengeza sabuni za maji za kufulia. Saa hii Kibuyuni ilikuwa hatuna barabara ya maramu. Saa hii Kibuyuni tumepata barabara ya maramu mpaka Shimoni. Ukifika Shimoni unapanda lami, so tumerahisisha usafiri kabisa. Kibuyuni ilikuwa kando hatuna hichi kilimo cha kukuza mwani, ilikuwa hatuna stima. Saa hii Kibuyuni tuko na stima. Tunashukuru huu mradi ulitupatia manufaa mengi sana hapa Kibuyuni. Huu mradi pia ulitufanya sisi tutambulike na serikali kuu na serikali ya kaunti. Ulifanya huu mradi, saa hii tumepata magala ya kuwekea hizi bidhaa zetu, tuko nazo, tumesaidika. Saa hii tuko na zile mashine za kutengeza sabuni. sabuni nzuri sana ambayo ukiogea hii sabuni hata inaponesha maradhi tofauti tofauti. Saa hii Kibuyuni tunatambulika na hakuna mradi mwingine ama kitu ingine ambayo tulifanya, bali ni hichi kilimo cha mwani hapa Kibuyuni kilitunufaisha pakubwa sana.
Asante Mama Fatma. Nitakuuliza swali lingine lakini utafupisha jibu. Na nitakuuliza, je, serikali ya kitaifa na za kaunti zinawezaje kuimarisha ushiriki wa jamii katika shughuli za blue economy wa sasa?
Naam, serikali ya kaunti na serikali kuu inaweza kuleta pamoja jamii ili kushiriki pakubwa kilimo hichi cha mwani. Moja yapo jamii itambulike ile ambayo tunafanya hiki kilimo. Pili, jamii ihusishwe. Serikali itakapopanga sera za hii miradi ama chochote serikali itakapoketi kupanga, ni mpaka twataka itushirikishe kama jamii. Sisi jamii tutoe zile hoja zetu, kama hapa tunataka mtusaidie hiki na kile, na sisi jamii hichi kilimo tunakifanya mahali ni shallow water, maji mafupi. Twaomba serikali iweze kutusaidia pia tufike kule maji marefu tuweze kukuza, manake maji marefu hiki kilimo kinafanya vizuri zaidi. Iweze kutupatia elimu, training, iweze kututrain jinsi tukipata hizi pesa zetu kutokana na hichi kilimo tutaziekaje, tutajiekezaje hizi pesa zetu ambazo tutazipata kwenye hichi kilimo. Pia ningeomba serikali, kando na kuangalia hii mambo ya hichi kilimo cha mwani, pia tunataka serikali iangalie miradi mingi sana ambayo tuko nayo hapa Kibuyuni. Pia serikali iweze kutilia maanani na iweze kushirikisha.
Asante Mama Fatma. I'll go to my last panelist, Peter Ngodho. I believe you're on standby. Coming from the private sector, perhaps in 2 minutes, you could just give us some feedback on value chains within the fisheries industry, how they can be strengthened to increase economic value for coastal communities. Please answer just that one question so that we can wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, for the invite, the launch. As regards to your question regarding how the value addition, the value chains can be strengthened to increase the value for the coastal people. First and foremost, we need the coastal people to be trained and sensitized, capacity build in programs whereby they should understand the impact of what they are doing, especially when you're talking about the coastal people and the coastal communities. We're talking about the fishermen. They should understand the role and the impact they do to the value chain, because they're in the initial stages, especially when we talk about the training perspective. We are talking about training them in terms of new technologies in fishing, as we had heard probably from a while ago from P.S. Tiba, where they're starting a training program on the deep sea fishing. Yes, and also training them on methods of product preservation and handling methods to avoid post-election losses, post-harvest losses. Because especially we are supposed also to encourage the coastal community to start in marine aquaculture. Aquaculture will encourage them in terms of strengthening the value chain. Also, yeah, talking about the financial support from our government and the financial institutions or the agencies, especially like, for example, when our CS Balala talked about the government has tried to support the hotel refurbishment with about 3 billion in terms of soft loans. We need to do the same for the locals, the fishermen, to enhance and strengthen the value chain. We are supposed to also have methods and programs to train the fishermen on the right gear and the right methods of fishing to sustain fishing in the lake and in the ocean. We are supposed to also undertake issues to do with whatever, like what Fatma has talked about. She's talked about value addition for the seaweed to get products like soap. So, especially when we talk about the value addition to the local products, that is an initiative we're supposed to undertake to strengthen the value chain in the whole process, starting from the fishermen up to the processing line, up to the market. We are supposed to also introduce new technologies to the same system, whereby the fisherman gets the new gears and new systems to enhance methods of harnessing more values of their products, and also starting with the government and our government, also increasing the systems whereby we have bilateral trade agreements across borders where our products can be sold to different countries, because we have some countries whereby our products don't meet they're taxed in terms of revenue, and you're not able to export the products to other countries. And then
Peter, I will begin to cut you short. Perhaps your concluding remarks.
Yes,
please.
We are also supposed to undertake to strengthen the market research and the products so that they enhance more portability for the people in the coast. Thank you, Jacqueline. As far as the coastal communities are concerned, we need to enhance mostly on the product market survey, because our fishermen, they should undertake an exercise whereby you can understand the product requirement and the product market survey all over the world to ensure that they produce and enhance the right profitable products. We are supposed also to undertake some product market research to ensure that all whatever is harnessed in the oceans can undertake and enable the value addition to enable all the coastal mechanisms to enhance all the partners and the stakeholders who are supposed to be given initiatives to undertake their program.
So Peter, thank you. I have a time barrier. So I really thank you all for being my champions on this panel. I've learned a great deal from each one of you, and I'll just highlight in 1 minute the important things that I take home from this discussion. And the first one is that communities are at the center of this dialogue. They are our transformation vehicle in all purposes. And we need to identify champions, just as the ones that have been on this important panel, to be able to drive the change and to be the vehicles for the change and the transformation we need to see. I also carry away a very interesting thought about science. When we talk about seaweed farming, we've talked about carbon financing, and we've heard about marine spatial planning. And all these are products of science. We need the data. Elizabeth has reminded us very clearly that we need data. On her ship, they're always collecting data, and that data helps them improve. So Kenya, we need to look at data. We need to look at the science and support the science so that it has a space in this transformation dialogue. And the last thing I would like to highlight, apart from the technological needs that we need to advance, is the fact that we need to invest in ocean literacy. Kenyans need to know about the ocean, understand about the ocean, and begin to explore the resources and the goodness that it has to offer. It has been my privilege to be part of this dialogue, and I'm very honored and thankful, and I hand over to Edwin. Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uku, for that, for facilitating that critical conversation that really brings to home the opportunities that are available to people at the blue, through the blue economy. As Sid Chatterjee just reminded us quickly on the chat, 38 of the 54 African countries are coastal. They have a coastline, yet up to the extent of, depending on the country, between 80 to 95% of our economies are based on land resources and have been built on land. Yet the ocean is such a critical and high potential opportunity for the world. And I do hope those who are listening either on the Zoom call or watching this on KBC or beyond are able to really start thinking, how can we tap into those opportunities proactively, because there are lives that are dependent on it, there are livelihoods to be built on top of it. And that opportunity is what is ahead of us. And if you are like me, I was sitting here and being really jealous of hearing where Elizabeth is. I think, Elizabeth, you said you are in Miami and headed to the Bahamas, right? Which is places that many of us have seen in movies and shows and wonder, how will we get there? You get to go there as part of your regular job. And so young people who are interested and want to travel, here's an amazing opportunity there. You heard from Mama Fatuma, who really grounded it for us on the community level, what this means for them in terms of generating livelihoods, generating incomes, and the kind of value addition that even Peter talked about. The opportunity is there. And that opportunity really does exist even more for Kenya than other places, given the leadership we have had from His Excellency, who has now joined us on this particular chat. And so welcome, Your Excellency. Before we get to you and your remarks, I did want to pivot quickly and have the team share a quick video that is put together from the 14 world leaders who are members of the high-level panel on what is their vision and why this is such an important part, or that they would like to have this 100 commitment to a sustainable ocean economy being built. So I'll ask the team to briefly play that video, and then I'll come back and introduce the next.
The ocean gives us life. It feeds us, entertains us, connects us, inspires us, and powers our success.
I grew up in a beachside suburb of Sydney, and it was very often the case that I'd head down to the beach after school with my mates. It is so much part of our way of life.
From an early age, you learn how to swim, you learn how to fish. That's a very important part of our culture and tradition.
Indigenous peoples have lived in harmony with our natural world and our oceans for millennia, and we need to draw from their expertise on how to better support and cherish and steward our oceans.
We are sailors, we are fishermen, we are industrialists, we are dependent on the oceans.
But today, the ocean's health is off track. At a time when we are already looking to recover from the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, we understand how vulnerable we are to health and other shocks.
It's important that we consider ocean as a partner. Life on Earth, as we know it, depends on the health of the ocean.
Research shows that a healthier ocean is a smart investment that will deliver social, health and economic and environmental benefits.
The health of our Earth and the health of our people are linked. They're totally intertwined.
Nuestra visión es encontrar un balance entre la conservación y el uso sustentable de los recursos del mar.
I believe we can choose a triple win, a win for people, a win for nature and our economy.
Where effective protection, sustainable production, and equitable prosperity go hand in hand.
The Ocean Panel, composed of 14 serving world leaders, has put forward a new ocean action agenda.
Nous invitons à assurer une gestion durable de 100% des zones océaniques se trouvant à l'intérieur des limites de nos territoires.
Listening to science, listening to research, listening to best practices that we have seen work for many other countries.
Sustainable ocean action should be a cornerstone of national and global policies.
Pengelolaan laut yang berkelanjutan akan mendukung pencapaian SDGs.
We are looking for reason to believe that in 2021 and beyond, we can not only fix what COVID did to the world, but also fix the problems we already had on our plate.
Climate change, pollution, ecosystem collapse, economic instability, unhealthy diets, poverty, and unsustainable practices across all sectors.
The answer is a healthy ocean with sustainability at its core.
Oceans may separate us physically, but they can also bring humanity together for a healthy, prosperous future.
El esfuerzo por una economía oceánica sostenible y sustentable tiene que ser multisectorial y multilateral.
We call on more world leaders and other partners to join us in turning the 100% goal into reality and treat the oceans as the solutions for the future.
The ocean gives us so much, let's give it 100%.
And with that video, for those who are listening and watching, you can download the reports on oceanpanel.org. So you see the depth of and richness of what's been put together, very much under the able leadership of scientists like Dr. Obura and Dr. Uku. We're extremely proud of Kenyans who are in the core of those global discussions, as well as Madam Ruth Kagia, who has been our Sherpa, has been an excellent leader for us. It's unfortunate she's not here with us for this celebration and this launch. As we get into the next session, I will quickly ask retired General Mwathethe to please give some remarks, given he is the chair of the Oceans and Blue Economy Office. And as he proudly says, he is a son of the sea. And so over to you, General Mwathethe, for a couple of remarks from your side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. And indeed, today is a very refreshing day, especially to see Dr. Obura, who was our rowing instructor, and Mama Fatma, Mama Mweni of Kibuyuni, they join us today. Really, the blue economy is changing lives, and Mama Fatma is evidence to that. It is with great pride that we come together on this very auspicious occasion to mark a great milestone in our country's journey to strengthen our efforts aimed at sustainable exploitation of our oceans economy. As head of the Blue Oceans Economy Office in Kenya, I'm encouraged to note the progress we as a country have made in defining and realizing a sustainable ocean economy agenda, and acknowledge our responsibility of developing and implementing measures to sustainably exploit those God-given resources. Kenya is quickly learning from its past, where we failed to rapidly adapt and, as a consequence, lost opportunities to tap into the immense potential that its oceans resources offer. We have learned from our limitations, including instances where the country failed to embed the ocean economy firmly into our national economic development agenda through hesitation to adopt new knowledge and technologies, or allowing the critical ecosystems we depend on to decline at great cost to our national prosperity and well-being. We have learned that the ocean's economy can and must contribute significantly to sustain our populations and generate wealth for them through increased investment opportunities for our private sector. Many countries have made strides in implementing national blue economy strategies, achieving early success, and generating good practices that Kenya can emulate. As the country anticipates the completion of Lamu Port, Kenya is working to reestablish its national shipping line and is making substantive progress towards expanding its stake in the region's expansive maritime sector. Additionally, the country has invested heavily in training and knowledge building. Since its commissioning in 2019, Bandari Maritime Academy has worked towards enhancing training through critical skills building in key areas and establishing a workforce of competent seafarers. We are reclaiming our fishing industry through substantial public sector investment in requisite infrastructure and organizing our producers along the entire value chain. As we continue to reflect on the various discussions that have taken place here today, we should be inspired to think about our own roles in actualizing the sustainable ocean economy agenda. As we continue to deepen our understanding of the opportunities for action and the risk of inaction, we should continue to tirelessly pursue solutions that nurture and grow our natural assets. The Ocean Panel is leading by example and building global political will for action. The panel seeks to encourage nations to build and increase momentum for political action at the highest level of leadership and governance, with supportive science-based evidence to ensure cohesive national and regional efforts. We are proud as a nation to be among the frontrunners in supporting this noble initiative. Mobilizing strong political will across governments is an initial step, and I look forward to seeing continued collaboration and implementation of initiatives to achieve a sustainable ocean economy, provide economic opportunities for our people, and protect and preserve our natural and cultural heritage. I thank you very much, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce and invite the CS for Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries and Cooperatives, CS Peter Munya, to carry on with the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General, Your Excellency the President, colleagues from the Cabinet, Principal Secretaries, representatives of foreign nations, development partners, regional and international organizations, friends of the ocean, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me much pleasure to be part of this historic event that puts the agenda of the ocean at the center of global discussions. All of us who are privileged to be born in coastal states and indeed citizens of the world as a whole have a reason to smile today as we mark a great milestone for our oceans and the sustainability of life on Earth. The ocean is important for everyone. It produces oxygen and food, stores carbon and heat, offers space for economic activities and recreation, and it continues to inspire and support culture and well-being. Globally, the value of key ocean assets has been estimated at US $24 trillion, and the value of the derived services at between US $1.5 trillion and US $6 trillion per year. However, access to ocean resources and sectors is rarely equitably distributed. Many of their benefits are accumulated by a few, while most harms from these developments are borne by the most vulnerable. We therefore need to emphasize that governing the ocean is a collective responsibility of humanity and can only be achieved by ensuring that those who have lived in, worked on, and stewarded the coastal and continental waters for centuries are included in decisions on its future governance. Coasts and ocean basins are cultural seascapes and have been governed by a multiple of tenor systems designed, contested, and embodied by coastal peoples themselves. These ocean citizens and the institutions they are forged are pivotal to achieving a sustainable ocean economy. Thus, maintaining ocean health and maintaining people's ocean access should be the dual aim of governing the future of the ocean. The call to action by the 14 ocean panel leaders to raise the ambition for the oceans agenda reinforces the fact that our oceans play a pivotal role in humanity's well-being. Having listened to the panelists underscore the vital importance of the ocean for future solutions, I am convinced that we made the right decision as a country to identify the blue economy as a mainstay of our socio-economic transformation and play a leadership role at the global level. We have assigned the blue economy as the 8th pillar in the medium-term plan for achieving Kenya's development blueprint, the Vision 2030. And I am confident with all the investment we are making, it will deliver what we anticipate from the various sectors of the ocean economy. With these remarks, it is now my humble duty to invite His Excellency, the President of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, to address the virtual conference and launch the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, all friends of the ocean, following our global launch of the new Ocean Action Agenda, today I'm very pleased and indeed excited to join you in our national launch. For our gathering today seeks to signify and build on Kenya's goodwill to put in place a sustainable ocean economy. Ladies and gentlemen, despite prevailing trends, I am certain that productivity and protection of our natural resource can coexist seamlessly. And it is clear that the ocean economy is a smart investment that can deliver social, economic, environmental benefits to all the people of the world. And as such, we in Kenya are keen to fully realize the potential of our 142,000 square kilometer exclusive economic zone. But however, as we do so, we will steadfastly protect our marine resources, even as we pursue its enhanced development and productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy has three overarching goals: a shared understanding of the relationship between the ocean and the economy, a recognition that economic production and ocean protection must be mutually supporting, and a suite of innovations in policy, governance, markets, and incentives that will align robust economic development with protection of the underlying natural capital of the ocean. These goals were aligned and with a collective vision of our nation as laid down in our long-term national development blueprint, we commonly refer to as Kenya Vision 2030, embedded therein is a focus on the ocean and blue economy as a foundation that will complement out more familiar reliance on terrestrial-based economic activities. In addition, our 6 coastal counties of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, and Taita Taveta have identified the ocean and blue economy as one of their 3 value chains to prioritize in their county development plans. The Lake region, comprising some 14 counties within the Lake Victoria Basin and constituting about 30% of Kenya's population, has similarly also prioritized the blue economy as a key economic pillar. So, ladies and gentlemen, we recognize that ocean knowledge and technology are more developed today than ever before. But despite that progress, our understanding and our ability to manage ocean resources sustainably continues to be hindered. And to reverse this trend, we in Kenya are taking the following measures. Number 1, we are committed to harnessing ocean science through support of scientific research and monitoring, as well as scaling up integrated local to global observation, including indigenous knowledge and research to better inform decision-making. Secondly, Kenya recognizes the potential benefits of the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development that will run from 2021 all the way through to 2030. Our marine scientists are at the foremost of ocean research in the African continent, and my government will continue to give them full support to take advantage of this period during which sustainable management of ocean resources will be strengthened. Thirdly, the availability of reliable, up-to-date, accessible data is essential for integrated and sustainable management of the ocean and coastal resources and environment. Kenya has been working closely with the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO to ensure availability and accessibility of such data in the region. We currently host UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Subcommission for Africa and the adjacent island states at the UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa here in Nairobi. Number 4, Kenya is a member and actively contributes to the Global Sea Level Observation System, which is a network of 300 sea level monitoring stations around the globe. We have 2 stations here in Kenya located in Mombasa and Lamu that are dedicated components of the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System. And we also have deployed Argo floats that collect air and sea climate data as part of the global network. Number 5, Kenya hosts a regional training center established by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission at the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute in Mombasa, which equips experts from the region with skills for processing and analysis of data, and which also maintains several regional ocean databases and directories, providing useful information for the management of ocean environment and ocean resources. So, ladies and gentlemen, my government actively seeks to implement sustainable economic development strategies for our people. And in this regard, we have taken a decisive step to honor the commitments Kenya has made in the past regarding sustainable ocean economy, and these include investing heavily in reviving the fisheries sector in our country, and we recently completed the first phase of the Kenya shillings 318 million Liwatoni fisheries complex in Mombasa. And I believe that this facility will spur the growth of the fishing industry and has potential to scale up value addition and processing activities. Furthermore, scaling up training to build critical skills and capacities in our workforce And indeed, early this year, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperatives rolled out training for about 1,000 fishermen. And this will ensure that there is adequate manpower to exploit our vast fisheries resources. We have also established the Bandari Maritime Academy to build critical technical capacities and knowledge resources. The launch of the Kenya Coast Guard services in 2018 to protect our maritime resources and secure our territorial waters was also undertaken. We've also taken on waste management and plastic pollution head-on. In 2017, Kenya banned the use of polythene carrier bags. And in addition, we have now implemented a ban on single-use plastics in all protected areas, including beaches, national parks, conservation parks, as well as forests. We're also developing a conservation strategy to address the ever-growing threats to fragile seagrass and coral reef systems. And this strategy seeks to promote biodiversity conservation, safeguard livelihoods of coastal communities, as well as spur comprehensive and focused scientific research. And that is why I'm very happy today to especially see Mama Fatuma, who we visited together with General Mwadede, and I'm glad to hear you're doing well and progressing well. Congratulations and well done. We're working also with local communities to restore the mangrove system in our coastal region. And as an example, through the support of the Kenya Maritime Fisheries Research Institute, the Mikoko Pamoja project has recently been able to restore almost 10 hectares of mangrove forests. So ladies and gentlemen, as a member of the high-level panel for sustainable ocean economy, I want to commit myself and my government to achieving 100% sustainable ocean management of areas within our national jurisdiction, guided by sustainable ocean plans by 2025. I am happy to note that we have taken the first bold steps towards achieving a sustainable ocean economy, as Kenya's Maritime Spatial Plan is already in the making. With support from UNESCO and the World Bank, the pre-planning phase of the MSP has been launched, and we will work closely with our partners from across the globe to make this a reality and to use it as a basis for our sustainable ocean plan. To support our efforts of attaining sustainable ocean management, Kenya is also a member of the Global Ocean Alliance, and this is a group of countries that has grown from 10 to 30 now in just the past 1 year, which have agreed to protect 30% of their maritime habitats by 2030 in highly protected maritime areas. These areas will assure minimum negative impacts to ocean ecosystems. And in Kenya, we will promote co-management with fishing communities and users in order for us to be able to meet this target. While we continue to work towards defining and actualizing our sustainable ocean agenda, it is apparent that these efforts will require regional collaboration and engagement due to our shared dependence on ocean and common vulnerabilities. Collaboration among states in matters related to oceans is challenging, but ultimately necessary. I am pleased to note that we are already collectively engaged with countries in our region on matters such as maritime environment, fisheries, shipping, as well as seabed mining. So ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I just want to join my fellow high-level panel leaders in celebrating the global launch of our new Ocean Action Plan. And I urge our neighbors in the Eastern and Central African region to join us as we collectively work together in taking bold steps to accelerate, scale up, and increase the finance and the financial, as well as promoting the healthy management of our oceans. In this regard, I affirm my administration's commitment to make every effort to ensure that we realize the full potential of our maritime resources and participate effectively in the advancement of the sustainable ocean economy. I thank you all. Asanteni sana. Let's continue to work together, keep up the great work, and I am sure we shall succeed. Asanteni sana.